Hi everyone, I'm Shauna and welcome to my channel. Today's video is my no-buy update for June. We're in June now, and May was a crazy month for me. So this particular no-buy update is really going to be heavy on the moving and the personal update. So that's just not a forewarning, but that's just I guess, a mention before we start. I'm first going to talk about the one thing that I bought, and then I'm going to talk about how I think I'm going to spend some money in July or leading up to July. And then the bulk of the video is going to be like how I'm doing, what's going on, and like how that has or is affecting how I'm thinking about like my personal finances, minimalism, those kinds of things. I do want to give a forewarning that it is very likely I will cry in this video. So if that is like not what you need right now, it's cool. You can come back later, or this video just isn't for you, and that's okay. I want to talk about the first thing that I bought, and I want to set the scene for you. I don't feel the need to justify this purchase at all. Very necessary. I just want to set the scene so you can, feel what I was feeling. It was May 17th, and I know that because I got vaccinated on the 18th. Yay. So we went to Toronto on that day. I believe it was a Monday. And the reason why we went was because he had to go for work. It was completely unavoidable. So we decided to go together, and then we would kind of spend the day outside. It's mid-May, and we got hit with a heat wave, kind of unexpected. It was about 30 degrees. And we were outside, like in the sun, probably for about 10 hours was like our whole day, maybe even more. But about 10 hours, we'll say 10 hours. It was a really like beautiful but like long day in a really good way. It's midday and it's 30 degrees outside, and I start to notice a little smell, and it's me. And then my partner notices, and like, he's my partner, so like there's very little that embarrasses us now, but it's always like unpleasant when you smell bad and then other people around you notice. And I was wearing my native deodorant, and I had said that I had not worn it in the summer yet, so I didn't know how I was gonna perform. Well, I learned, and it was not protective at all. I was kind of smelly. So we went to like the closest grocery store, and I picked up a deodorant. This was just kind of like the cheapest one that was there, and this is now like my summer deodorant. And what I'm gonna do is just kind of like cycle on and off today. Like, I'm at home by myself inside, so I don't really need this one. But when I know I'm going outside to the beach or going for a walk or a bike ride or anything like that, then it's time to hit it with the big guns. But it was intolerable. And I'm not gonna apologize or feel bad about buying a deodorant that is totally necessary and like makes me feel comfortable. So that's the single thing that I bought that is like related to makeup or personal care or anything of that nature. As a whole though, it was super easy not buying anything this first month, and I kind of feel like that's how I felt the first time around. Like the first couple of months were the easiest, and there was no temptation. And part of it was that like I was busy and my mind was elsewhere. And that's the thing, I guess, like when you're working, when you're busy, when you have other things on your mind, you're doing other things, you're less focused on mindless scrolling or checking Instagram. And not busy work for busy work, but even if you just have like a regular job and you go to your job and then you come home and then you're tired, like most people, and then you make dinner, you eat dinner, you hang out, or maybe you go to the gym, or maybe you're just like hanging out with your spouse or your kids or something like that. That's what a lot of people's days look like. You come home and you're tired and you want to relax. You do whatever it is you want to relax. I am somebody who like works at home, and I can't say I've really been working the past couple of months. So it's like I'm not doing that work kind of come home thing, and you know, even that busy with work at all. So I've had lots of opportunity to kind of be distracted or distract myself with makeup or clothing or things like that. Even though I got busy, and it was at home. So I guess where you do your work or your busyness doesn't quite matter, but I was much busier and more preoccupied, and I had no desire to buy anything or spend my money. And especially as I made some like bigger purchases, I still feel like what I bought to, you know, to move was really, really reasonable. I think the two most expensive things that I bought, one was $100, and it was like an over the counter, not over the toilet kind of storage thing. I was supposed to take the one at my previous home, but somebody changed their mind, so I bought a new one. I did try and look on like Kijiji and Marketplace, but there wasn't a single one. So I bought a new one, and that was $100. And then the second most expensive thing that I bought was a bookshelf, which is over here. There she is. And then I would say like I spent about $300 at IKEA. That includes the bookshelf, and that got me just about everything that I needed for like my kitchen. That was like the most expensive kind of part of like moving or getting my own place. I didn't buy anything for the bedroom at all, or like my office space, and I did have to buy that over the toilet thing I was telling you about for my bathroom, but that's the only thing I bought for there. And I really like did my best to kind of use what I have, repurpose what I have, and also there were some things that I wanted or I felt like I would use, but I didn't need to buy them right away because I really felt like that if I used them, it probably wouldn't be in the summertime. I'm thinking things like a casserole dish, where like if you want to make a lasagna or like a shepherd's pie, something like that, you need one of those, and I don't have one. I'm like a year late on this, but I also wanted to try baking my own bread. And so you need like a loaf pan, a bread pan to do that. And I was like, you know what, let's just like feel this out first. You don't need it. And if I do want to bake some bread, I can ask probably my partner's mom. She bakes. So she might have one that I can borrow. Just, you know, some things like that. So not like a ton, but I also used a lot of what I had. I decided like not to buy a coffee maker and just to use a French press that I had, which has been working out fine. We had a kettle in the basement that was for when my parents used to go camping, or I guess me as a child. And it's been sitting there. I took it to school and no one's touched it since. And so I was thinking, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna need a new kettle. Not oh my gosh, but I'm gonna need a new kettle because it was like really gross. So I actually like spent an afternoon and cleaned it out before. I was like, you know what, it's worth putting in a couple of hours to clean the freaking kettle before, you know, to see if you need a new one. It's fine. Like it works fine. It's not particularly beautiful. So like it doesn't matter. It's a kettle. I don't really care all that much about it. So yeah, so I really like did my best to use what I have, and then if there was things that I wasn't sure about or I could hold off, I did. And I really like I feel proud of like the choices I made when like shopping for my apartment. I felt like I was really reasonable, and it was a moment where I felt like I really knew myself and like how I live my life. Okay, I'm trying to make a point here. When it comes to other parts of my life, things like my personal style or even like my job or things I want to do, both small and big things, I've maybe been hard on myself and felt like I don't know what I want, or like I'm not sure. And so to have just like one part of my life where I felt like I really knew myself and I had like control and I made good decisions and like stand by them and like knew they were good when I was making them, that's just like a small win. So I'm very proud of that. And I really did, like, I really used what I had. I never bought anything extra or because it was nice. I just kind of bought the necessities. And a lot of the times, like in other areas of my life, I enjoyed buying, or like I wanted to buy something new, or like using what I have, like I know I should, but not what I actually want to do. So it was nice to like put those principles into action and like really feel them and embody them. As for money, like how I'm gonna spend my money in July, or I guess coming up for June, because we're just entering June now. My birthday's at the very beginning of July, and I did say in my no buy intro that I was allowing myself some kind of fun money, and I am allowing myself $100. I think I might have said 50 in the previous video, but I'm allowing myself $100. And there's a couple, and you know what? I don't think any of it's going to be makeup. And one of the reasons why I'm kind of giving myself that like a little bit of a larger amount is because there are some things that I genuinely need, like sandals. I own one, like, you know, like those Adidas slides. I own those, and then like a pair of flip-flops, and that's it. I also own a pair of dress sandals, like black heel. I don't have like walking around sandals or like flat sandals, or you know, like those ones like the thing in between your toes. I don't have an everyday pair of sandals where I can leave my house right now and walk to the grocery store or go for a walk with my partner and like be comfortable. And while like I'm not always wearing sandals, that really feels like something that is useful and that I would want and need. I don't know, it kind of feels silly to not have sandals, like an everyday pair of sandals. So that's the first thing, is a pair of like everyday sandals. That would be really nice. And I also believe that I need to replace my like everyday running shoes. I've had those for about 2 years now, and what I noticed this past week, like really putting a lot of use into them and like heavy duty use, is that they're not all that comfortable and they're super squeaky. I think I'm gonna have to replace those, and I'm really into the Adidas NMD R1s, I think that's what they're called. I think they're a very beautiful sneaker, but they are so expensive. They're like $140 to $170 Canadian, like retail. I've never spent that much on a sneaker before, and so I was thinking about buying them on Poshmark, and there's this black pair that is listed for $120, and I have a $60 credit, so definitely wouldn't get me all of the way there, but would, you know, get me a huge chunk. So those are some things I'm thinking about. And I also really, there's 2 clothing items that I've been thinking about. I certainly couldn't buy all of these things, but these are just like separate ideas that I've had. There's been 2 kinds of clothing pieces that I've really been into. The first is this dress. I saw it at Banana Republic. To me, it's like the kind of dress that like, it's very simple, but it took my breath away, and I was like, wow, that might be the most beautiful dress I've ever seen. It's like very, very simple. It's so simple, and I fell in love with this dress, and I would love to own it. Love to own it. And I think that it would like suit me and be really beautiful for summer. So that's a thought. And then the second thing is a jumpsuit. I will also include a picture of it, and this is the thing I maybe want the most. I saw this for the first time in February or March, and I just like put it in my cart because I just like wanted that reminder. But then, you know, like I eventually took it out. But every time I went onto that website, I went to go look at that jumpsuit. It's, to me, the most beautiful piece of clothing I have ever seen. I have fallen head over heels in love with this thing. It's so beautiful. It's so, and I was looking at it the other day, and I, as I've been like planning my summer capsule, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get it. And I just like convinced myself that I was gonna get it because I'm like, it's a summer capsule, and yeah, it's okay to spend more money on a piece that like you can hopefully have for longer. It's $157 retail. So it's like, it's definitely above the $100 limit, but I have a coupon to that store that gets me $25 off. So it'd be like $125, still over. But when I was thinking about it, It has puff sleeves, which I don't know. I don't look good in like every kind of puff sleeve. I wouldn't know until I got it. But it's fairly form-fitting at the top, and then like it kind of comes in at the waist. It's very structured on the top. And I have a hard time believing that, let's say it looked amazing on me. Let's just say I have a hard time believing that I would feel comfortable in my own skin in that. And I think this is just one of those pieces, when it comes down to it, is to me like an objectively beautiful item. Okay, maybe not objectively, but to me it's a beautiful item. The most beautiful piece of clothing I've ever seen in my life. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but that's like how I feel about it right now. And I felt this way since March. So it kind of tells me that it's not a short-term thing, like, you like it and then you buy it like on a whim. But I just don't think, like, I have a hard time believing that even if it fit, I would wear it, because I think I would be uncomfortable in the clothing that I currently own. And even like a t-shirt like this, I'm gonna stand up. This is like a slim fitting t-shirt. I have not tucked it in because I'm just kind of sitting here. So let's, I guess, maybe do that a little bit. I, in public, would feel a little uncomfortable wearing this t-shirt because it's like tight to the body, like it's fairly slim fitting, kind of tight to the body. So if I would likely feel uncomfortable in this out in public, or okay, I wouldn't say so uncomfortable I wouldn't wear it, but I would be a little self-conscious. I would wear it, but I'd be a little self-conscious. I have a hard time believing that something that's more structured than this is something that I would actually wear. So I think I just needed to talk to y'all about it so I could be like, I love this thing. I need somebody to know that I love this thing and it's beautiful, but it's not for me, I don't think, in reality. And so I want to get something that's actually practical, that I would use, and that would like maybe be beneficial. I'm kind of leaning towards those shoes. I actually have two pairs that I've been thinking about. One is like that everyday sandal, that everyday walk around sandal. Then the other one is like a dressier sandal, which I can still see myself wearing, but like you go on a date and you wear a dress, you don't want to wear a heel, or you're wearing like jeans and a nice top. I think of that TikTok of when like every girl knows when you ask what to wear to something and somebody replies jeans and a nice top, you know what that means. Anyways, so those shoes, I want them in a metallic color. They would also be practical. I can acknowledge that if I get one, it should be the pink ones, like the everyday walking one, but I do believe I would get use out of that metallic pair as well. Like, I think it would be very practical. Okay, so I'm now gonna talk about, I guess, more of like the personal thing. I moved on June 1st, and leading up to that, I was spending a lot of my time trying to like gather things for the move, as well as like packing and those kinds of things. And because we're in lockdown, the thrift stores are closed, so I couldn't go there. And also, and so I was checking Facebook Marketplace and Kijiji. I had a couple of things in mind, like if I couldn't find them at home, but like I ended up getting a kettle, like using my own kettle, and I was thinking about buying a blender and a coffee maker online, but I decided like not online, like on the boards, but those were fine, like I didn't need to actually buy them. So there was also a dish set that I was going to get on Kijiji as well, but I was able to actually see it in store, and the dish set, like the picture of it on the box was like cream, But then I looked at it online, like I went in store, sorry, and it was gray. Not the person's fault, because like that's the picture of the front of the box, but they didn't like show the dishes. Either way, I didn't buy a ton through the boards. Just kind of the way that the cookie crumbled, and it was either I tried to find it, wasn't like couldn't find it, or I went without. That was most of the things. Other things like kitchen, like the dish set would have been a big one, or like a bowl set. There was no bowl sets. And then the dish sets were either like really, really big sets or like fine china. Didn't really need that. So not a lot ended up going that way. I also was looking for like a table and chair set, but I needed something small, like literally like a 2-seater, and there was one with 4, too big. So it wasn't as though like, I'm just going off on a tangent. That's not what I'm trying to talk about. So I spent a lot of time kind of doing the shopping, and I eventually went to go and did my IKEA order, and I was looking here and there, and then I was packing, and I talked about in the video with Emma and Josh that I had a corner of my basement that was like this corner of hell. It was a corner where I just like I came back from university, dumped it all there, and then never looked at it for 5 years. So I cleared all that up, and something like 10 garbage bags full of stuff is being donated. And there was also a lot of trash. Like the amount of weight in like papers and notes and readings was ridiculous. It was so heavy. It was like 5 boxes full of just notes and readings, like printed stuff. So much waste, and it was kind of like a mountain to get through. It took me a couple of days, but I finally did the basement, and then I did like my room and whatever when I was packing. And through all of that, it didn't feel real that I was leaving, like at all. And so I'm already feeling emotional here. Like a minute into this. And so the whole time that I was packing and buying stuff just didn't feel real. And so it's June 1st, and my partner and I packed up everything in an hour and a half. Like moved it into the truck. So the room is empty. The room is empty, and I'm looking at it, nothing. And even before that, like my family never talked about it. Like they never said anything to me until there was like, bye, like have a good move. So I'm standing there, and I think I might just have to say fuck it at this point and let my voice shake. So I'm standing there, and my partner asks me, any thoughts? Anything you want to say before we leave? And I started bawling, taking off the glasses. I started bawling my eyes out. It hit me all at once. Like, I'm leaving, this is it. There was a lot of anger and frustration and sadness. I shouldn't have had to leave. I shouldn't have had to leave. I feel like when children move out of their parents' place, it should be because they're ready for something new. Like that's the reason why. Like they're like ready to move on with their life in a positive way, and that's not what happened here. And when I was looking at it, and he was like, anything you want to say? I chose. Fucking get it together, man. I chose to say thank you. I said thank you to my space. I can't look at the camera, otherwise I'm gonna cry. More. I chose to say thank you to my space because despite going through hard times there, the place that I felt the most comfortable and safe was my room. So it did its job, and there's a blessing in that, and feeling like while your whole home should be a safe space to live, a positive space to live, if you don't have that, I'm glad I had my room, that it was that for me, and that there was positive memories there with my partner as well. We're only a week out, not even. Like it's June 7th. It's June 7th, so I guess we're about a week out. And I've had like a hard time with this because I haven't talked a lot about my family on my channel. First, like for good reason. I don't speak to my biological father, and I haven't for a long time, over a decade at this point. And when I was young, like I tried to not see him, but the courts decided otherwise. Either way, my biological father is not a good person, and I've selected to not have him in my life. And as a whole, my life has been more positive without him. And the reasons for that are like private at this time, but all I can say is that it was necessary. And for those of you, I just maybe need you to imagine why somebody would not choose to have a parent in their life. That's not something that most people take lightly, and it's got to be pretty serious for that choice to have been made. And as a result, his family chose to completely cut me off. It is what it is, but I lost that whole side of the family. Now I was angry because it's like, now I'm losing everybody. Like, who do I have left? So that's what I was feeling. Like, I do have my brother, but he moved out of my parents' house when he was young, like 17, I think. And he moved out basically, hold on, that would have been my brother this year. Holy shit. My brother's turning 30. We have the same birthday, by the way, which is why I'm like, wow, he's turning 30 this year. Wow. Wow. Anyways, this would have been in 2008, I think. So I think he was 17. Whatever. Either way, he moved out back then for a lot of the reasons why I moved out now. And he doesn't really have a relationship with my parents because it's most of the same shit that is going on with me. So it's kind of hard to feel like you've lost all your family. I don't know, maybe I can't say that like my brother and I, like we're just not as close as we used to be. I mean, we're close at one point, like we got matching tattoos. And maybe it's like because I've lived with my parents, I don't know, but hopefully, you know, this could be a positive time for us both. In terms of family, I live very close to my partner now. I could probably walk to his house in 25 minutes, bike there in maybe like 10, something like that. Not far, but he also has a car, so it's like just a couple minutes, like literally less than 5 minutes to drive here from his house. So we're much closer. That was my choice. The house shopping process is maybe like not the the moment for right now, but I've talked about this before. But he is somebody who like, has been there for me. There's so many beautiful moments in our relationship where I could be like, that's something that like, that was it. That's how I knew he was the one. And there's probably like a million of those. And I'm gonna say something, and I think it might give the impression that like he hasn't been there for me, but he has. He's been amazing and has always been there for me. He's always like very thoughtful, like always considering me. And in this time, he really, like he stepped it up. We talked before I moved, just kind of like how I've been doing and feeling, and he was very receptive and supportive in like ways that were beyond, I guess, what I expected. So that was like amazing. he's been wonderful. He's been giving me space when I need it and like letting me be alone, which is like something I've been struggling with. And then also like being here for me. So he's just kind of been like everything. He's been amazing. And I just want to give you like a little example. So I'm in a basement, and while like I've closed all vents coming down here, it still gets cold when all the doors and windows are closed, and the door's open right now, same with the window. The first night I was here, like he saw how cold I was, and I was like 35 degrees outside. I had long socks on, like long pajamas, t-shirt, sweater, like still cold. And the very next day, like I talked about ordering a heater, and I was thinking about it, the very next day, he was doing his work. It was like 9 o'clock, 9:30, and he was like, hey, like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know what I said. And I got a knock on the door, and he's there. He went on Kijiji and bought me a heater. I could have fucking cried, guys. I could have cried. And he was at his place of work, which is about half an hour away. He picked it up, drove back here to give it to me so I wouldn't be cold in the evening, and then went back to work. Like, what's that? That was really special. Like, that's so kind. And we're not people, like, we don't give each other gifts, period. Birthday, Christmas, nothing. And we prefer it that way. Honestly, honest to God, mutual decision. We both like were like, it was awkward to talk to the other person because it was like feeling like maybe, I don't know, it was kind of weird. It's, imagine having that talk with your partner, saying to them like, I don't want to get you anything. It could really easily be taken the wrong way. We both felt like that. It wasn't like I don't want to get you anything, but I digress. We don't give each other gifts ever, and that works for us. But he got this for me, and he was like, this is a gift from me to you. That was so kind, so thoughtful, and like very special. For him to go out of his way, see that this was a need, go and buy it, and then surprise me with it, that was really special. I'm trying to like, I guess, wrap this up, and I've been here for a week, and I'm still kind of like overwhelmed with the newness, not necessarily with like things to do. There is like still more cleaning to be done. It's just like there's so much that changed so fast, and I haven't wrapped my head around all those changes, and there's like clearly a lot of emotion here, a lot, and a lot that I'm gonna have to work through. And what I want for myself here is a place of positivity, and I want to like grow and flourish here. I know I'm not going to be here for long, but I want to grow and flourish here. I want to be happy here, and I couldn't do that previously, and I was just like surviving. Like the goal was just like survive the day. And I guess I was initially disappointed when I like, our weekend, and I've just been feeling kind of sad, very similar to before I left. And it's like, you left, like why hasn't your mood changed? Why are you still feeling sad? Why is it difficult to do things? And I guess like it feels a bit different in the sense that like there's a lot like emotionally to sort out that's not gone. But I guess like what I have also been feeling has been like a sense of purpose. I don't know what that is for me yet. Like I don't know what I'm supposed to do like in life, and I don't feel like I have a sense of purpose. And I want to make it very clear that it's not as though I don't think I can have one, or I don't think that I am meaningful. I just don't know what the purpose is, so I don't have a sense of one. So it's like, what do I do with my life? Like, what am I supposed to do? What's my purpose? I don't feel like I know. So then there's that. And then it's like, there's a lot of emotion. And then there's also like this feeling of, I guess, I don't know why it hit me so clearly after I left. I've been feeling this way for a while, but I couldn't put my finger on it. and it's I don't have a sense of purpose, and I want to know what it is, and I don't know how to figure that out. Update. Oh my gosh, huge life update. So this like has very clearly been affecting my outlook, my day-to-day, what I'm doing, how I'm feeling about myself, which does in turn affect what you buy, how you buy. I just really want this to be an opportunity and be able to like be fully who I am and like live that truth. That's what I hope I can do here. The last thing I wanted to talk about, which is like, it's coming at the end of the video, like, is something that I said to myself yesterday. Was thinking about putting on makeup, because that's something that's kind of historically made me feel better. And I was like, Shauna, you're not doing anything today. Like, you're just gonna be here, you're gonna be at home. Like, that's a waste of makeup. And then I thought to myself, and I was like, hold on. I've said this a lot. And I think maybe I'm not alone in this. I've said it a lot, that if I'm home alone, like, or if not even alone, if I'm home kind of doing the hanging around at home thing, doing nothing, whatever that nothing is. Sometimes it's legitimately binging TV for 8 hours. Sometimes it's doing work. Other times it's editing videos or going for a walk or organizing, whatever that nothing is. I've always treated that like a waste of makeup. Now, here is what I thought yesterday. How sad is it that a day in my life, a day in just being me, is a waste? Shouldn't waking up and being me be like enough? Like, why is that a waste of a day? And I've said this to myself a lot. Usually it's like that exact phrase, like, that'd be a waste of makeup, or it's a waste of a day, I'm not doing anything today. And I don't want to feel like any day in my life is not worth the makeup, that I'm not worth it, that day is not worth it, because being alive and here is special, and that should be enough to be worth it. And so I want to leave this video on that positive note, that changing mindset, that my life, a day in my life, is worth it. Whatever it is I want to wear, if it's a piece of clothing or if it's makeup, that is enough to be worth it. And I'm glad I said that to myself. And I hope if you're somebody who needs to hear it, that you're hearing it as well. I don't want to feel like any day, any singular day in my life is not worth it. That's the video. That's the update. And it's very clear that being in this new space has definitely affected like what I'm wearing in terms of clothing. It's much cooler here. It's 40 degrees outside. Both my windows are open and I'm in a t-shirt and pants. So different climate, dressing a little bit different, different space, and like doing different things, like more cleaning and like cooking and whatever, which is like change of lifestyle, I guess, if you will. And I've been more active. So it's just like a different moment and some adjusting. And overall, like I shared this update because like so much has changed in my life. It's like definitely affecting how I'm doing, how my outlook on things. And I have been shopping for summer, so I hope that that capsule will come soon. But in terms of makeup, that's been much less on my mind these days, and much bigger things have been on my mind, and it doesn't really seem like it's changing anytime soon. So that's the video, that's the update. I would love to hear your kind thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for being here and sharing this video with me, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again around here soon. Bye.